Welcome back, McFly subscribers. This is the fly we're tying today. It is called the Brammer Mini Pheasant Craw. It was originally tied by Gunner Brammer, and I think it's a great pattern. It's fairly simple to tie and uses a limited amount of materials. Okay, let's get to it. So this fly uses exclusively material from a pheasant skin like this. And I got this beautiful skin from a subscriber of mine. Thank you so much, Justin, for sending this. I really wanted to use some of the feathers in it, so I looked around for patterns that utilize them and found this craw. Okay, let's start this fly by selecting the feathers that we need to use. First, we need about 6 strands of pheasant tail. I like to cut off the squirrelies and then spin it in my fingers to make the fibers not align the same way. Next, we need 2 feathers from this section of the bird. Both should be as close as possible to the same size. I also like the ones that have the M tip to them like this. I find it looks more like a crawfish claw. Okay, let's prepare these feathers ahead of time. Align the tips and then strip off all the fuzzies and some of the other fibers until you find the right size claw shape that you're looking for. Like this. Okay, now we need 4 rump feathers. These feathers have fibers that don't stick together, which makes for a nice buggy looking body. We need 4 of these fibers. Actually, I think Brammer used 3, but I like 4. We want these in varying fiber lengths. Towards the back are the longer fibers, and they get shorter as you work your way away from the tail. Let's go ahead and prepare these feathers ahead of time as well and strip off all the fuzzies. Now we need 2 feathers from this section. They are heart-shaped feathers that are brown in color. Strip off all the fuzzies and some of the fibers to create a small heart shape like so. We are left with 2. One is larger than the other. Keep note of that. Okay, let's get into tying this fly. I am using Risen's 4.5mm tungsten slotted beads in gold, and Firehole Stick's 523 hook, which is a long shank jig hook in size 4. Best way to put the bead on the hook is to place the bead in your hand and bring the hook point to the bead. Place the hook securely in your vise. For thread, I like Viva's 6/0, and I am using hot orange for a hot spot. Start the thread up behind the bead and make a few wraps to create a thread dam behind the bead to keep it in place. Then make a thread base down the hook shank until you reach the hook bend. And come back up 1 wrap. Tie in the tail fibers so they extend as long as you can make them. I like tying down into the bend and then making a wrap under them and tightening to splay them out a bit. Now take one of the claw feathers and tie it in on the side of the hook so they splay outward. If they don't splay enough, you can make 1 wrap under the feather to force it outward. Okay, tie the other feather in on the other side in the same way. Now for the body of the fly. Take the longest fiber rump feather and separate the tip like so. Tie this end slightly down the hook bend a bit, not up right near the claws. By the way, I like to tie these in so the fibers are angling forward on the fly. This will cause them to splay outward and make it look more buggy. Okay, stroke the fibers rearward and start wrapping the feather up the hook shank. When you reach the stem, capture the stem, and if you pull on the stem rearward and wrap back up on it, you can then just snap it off without having to cut it. Now we need to align these fibers so they aren't trapped up under the hook bend. Just separate them out to the positions you like, and then pull all the fibers rearward and wrap back up on top of the fibers a bit. This will lay them down and also make this much more durable. Okay, bring your thread down the hook shank a bit, and do the same thing with the next sized rump feather. Okay, now we need one of those little heart-shaped feathers. Use the largest of the 2 feathers here. Tie this in directly on top of the hook like so, ensuring that it is positioned correctly and not off to the side or anything. Once tied in tightly, use your scissors to cut it off as close as possible. By the way, to get a super fine cut like this, I was using Risen's mitten scissors. They are super comfortable in the hand and have a really fine tip, allowing for precise trims really close. I like using some UV resin here to lock that piece into place. This will keep it from spinning. Just paint some of this Solarez Ultra Thin resin on and cure it with your UV light. Solarez Ultra Thin is awesome. It comes with a built-in paintbrush in the cap and cures without any tackiness very quickly. Some of my favorite resins. Okay, so now take the next size rump feather and cut off the tip slightly so it doesn't go over the bead. Tie this in the same way you did with the other rump feathers. Okay, now for the second heart-shaped feather. Let's tie it in directly on top the same way we did with the last. Now, I believe this is where Gunner ended, at least in the videos I've seen him tying, but I like adding one more feather. This is the shortest of the rump feathers, and I actually tie this one in with the fibers angling rearward just to clean up the base a bit. Now we want to tie these feathers back, but we don't want to build up a large hot spot, just a little small one. So be careful not to wrap too far back into the feather here. Leave a small space behind that bead, but don't go too far. Okay, when you're happy, finish your fly. I like taking that Solarez Ultra Thin once more and paint it on top of the fly slightly and cure it. Then I turn the fly upside down and coat the entire whip finish and cure. This will make the fly super durable and will fix any whip finish issues. Okay, well there we go. That's my take on Gunner Brammers mini pheasant crayfish. I will link below to his video if you want to see the master tie his original pattern. He has some great insight on why he used what feathers. And he did create a great little pattern here. I need to go out and try these on the local Guadalupe bass that we have near me. They are very similar to smallmouth bass, but are in rivers here in the South Texas. I suspect they will love this fly. If you haven't already, you need to check out my sponsor Risen Fly. They made the beads that I use today and also those amazing scissors. They also make rods and reels and a bunch of awesome high quality gear for fly fishing. However, their prices are incredibly low for the quality of gear that they offer. Best off, they're offering all of you a discount just for being my subscriber. So go to www.risenfly.com and type in McFly at checkout for 15% off of your first order with them. Okay, thanks for watching everyone. Let me know what you guys think of this fly. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe and hit that bell notification for future video updates. Also, if you could hit the like button, it would really help me and the channel out. I will see you on the next video. Now you go catch some fish.